I am forever an effect of God. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. I'm Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks, and we're ready for lesson 326 in A Course in Miracles workbook for students. We're reading from the original edition here on Wednesday, November the 22nd of 2023. I am forever an effect of God. And the prayer says, Father, I was created in your mind, a holy thought that never left its home. I am forever your effect, and you forever and forever are my cause. As you created me, I have remained. Where you established me, I still abide. And all your attributes abide in me, because it is your will to have a son so like his cause that cause and its effects are indistinguishable. Let me know that I am an effect of God, and so I have the power to create like you. Let me know that I am an effect of God, and so I have the power to create like you. And as it is in heaven, so on earth. Your plan I follow here. And at the end, I know that you will gather your effects into the tranquil heaven of your love, where earth will disappear and separate thoughts unite in glory as the Son of God. I am forever an effect of God. Let us today behold earth disappear, at first transformed and then forgiven, fade entirely into God's holy will. Let us today behold earth disappear, at first transformed and then forgiven, fade entirely into God's holy will. So we're forever an effect of God. God is our cause. You kind of get your sense of get your head wrapped around this idea that you're a thought of God, and that as a thought of God, you're eternal and always connected with God. That's what we want to reach our awareness back to, and we'll find out that when we get there, we've always been there. The journey without distance is what Jesus calls it. Okay, well, let's go look at our associated reading for today. I am forever an effect of God's associated reading is, what is creation? Creation is the sum of all God's thoughts, in number infinite and everywhere without all limit. Only love creates, and only like itself. There was no time when all that it created was not there, nor will there be a time when anything that it created suffers any change. Forever and forever are God's thoughts exactly as they were and as they are, unchanged through time and after time is done. God's thoughts are given all the power that their own Creator has, for He would add to love by its extension. Thus His Son shares in creation and must therefore share in power to create. What God has willed to be forever one will still be one when time is over, and will not be changed throughout the course of time, remaining as it was before the thought of time began. Creation is the opposite of all illusions, for creation is the truth. Creation is the Holy Son of God, for in creation is His will complete in every aspect, making every part container of the whole. Its oneness is forever guaranteed inviolate, forever held within His holy will beyond all possibility of harm, of separation, imperfection, and of any spot upon its sinlessness. We are creation, we the sons of God. We seem to be discreet and unaware of our eternal unity with Him. Yet back of all our doubts, past all our fears, there still is certainty. For love remains with all its thoughts, its sureness being theirs. God's memory is in our holy minds, which know their oneness and their unity with their Creator. Let our function be only to let this memory return, only let God's will be done on earth, only to be restored to sanity, and to be but as God created us. Our Father calls to us, and we hear His voice, and we forgive creation in the name of its Creator, holiness itself, whose holiness His own creation shares, whose holiness is still a part of us. I am forever an effect of God. And our associated reading, or not, that was our associated reading, our manual for teachers reading is What is Justice? I named my firstborn Justice. I had a much different understanding of justice when my son Justice was born. And I've updated it a lot through the years. And I hope that you start getting a sense of what heaven's justice is also. While you're turning, it's number 19 in the manual for teachers, What is Justice? Let me tell you about world holy days, holidays, and observances. This coming, or today, is Blackout Wednesday and Taiwan Day. Both the same basic idea. It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. A bunch of people are home for the holidays, school's out, college kids coming home, and they're experimenting with what it's like to be inebriated. And so my advice is don't get inebriated. But if you're going to and you need to experience that, find a safe place. Have someone take good care of you while you're blacked out. Go for a Ride Day. Since 1904, any form of transportation, just take a ride. Humane Society Anniversary Day. 1954 is when the Humane Society began. National Cranberry Relish Day. And I found a really nice little recipe for making cranberry relish on simplejoy.com. I'll put it in the list, but basically all it takes is an orange, 12 ounces of cranberries, and a half cup of sugar. I'd recommend using honey or raw sugar at the least, maybe stevia or a combination of those, or maple syrup. But something that has a little more nutrients than white refined sugar is what I'm trying to suggest. Of the orange, you just use a little, about I think 2 tablespoons of the peeling grated up, and then the juice. Anyway, I thought that, and you can add all kinds of things. I noticed they said you can add ginger to it and cinnamon to it, but it's all in that website, simplejoy.com. National Stop the Violence Day, which, that's a call to stop violence anywhere. And I think that's what we're doing as we study A Course in Miracles, isn't it? We're not only stopping the violence in our own thoughts, but we're also, we're the salt of the earth, and we're helping everyone be seasoned with an example of how to be overlooking what never happened. That's how forgiveness works in this world. National Jukebox Day. The first jukebox was made and put in a saloon in San Francisco in 1889. Spite giving. Spite, to treat maliciously. Not recommending you do any spite giving. As a matter of fact, look at your spite giving deep inside and turn it into forgiveness. Start your own country day. If you want to start your own country, there's 4 things you'd need. You'd need a territory. You'd need a government, which is a system of social control. That's out of the Columbia Encyclopedia. You're going to need 3, a permanent population, and 4, ability to have relations with other states. And to me, that's just a fancy way of saying return your letters on time, like claims and notice and demands and whatnot. Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. And then, what do you love about America? What do you love about America Day? And what I love about America is that I can share this freely with you, where I can speak freely. Haven't been taken off this platform anyway. I hear a lot of people are, though, for breaking their simple rules, which isn't freedom of speech. But anyway, we thank God for the freedom to be able to communicate freely about our beliefs and our spiritual journey. And I received all those holidays and festivals from holidaysandobservances.com. And I said I wanted to say something about cranberries. And it's been a year since we talked about the Vaccinium macrocarpon, the Lear cranberry out of Edible Landscaping. So, since it was last year we talked about it, let's talk about it again today. We want to really know these different basic plants that you'll want to use for your home site, your homestead. Lear cranberry, a wild clone from Wisconsin, early ripening, large to medium bright red fruit, very productive, native space 1 foot circle. Clay soils should have about 80% moist peat worked into the top 4 inches of soil. That's a lot of peat, 80% in the top 4 inches. Mulch 1 to 2 inches with aged mulch for all cranberry varieties. Zones 3 through 7. Of course, they also sell the Stevens cranberry, but we're talking about the Lear today. And I found that those were I didn't know much about how cranberries grow, but they like a lot of water, evidently. They do winter over. They're an evergreen, perennial evergreen, and make those little red cranberries. Okay, well, let's go take a look now at our Manual for Teachers, What is Justice? Take with you, I am forever an effect of God today. Justice is the divine correction for injustice. Injustice is the basis for all the judgments of the world. Justice corrects the interpretations to which injustice gives rise and cancels them out. Neither justice nor injustice exists in heaven, for error is impossible and correction meaningless. So in heaven there is no justice, nor injustice exists in heaven. For error is impossible and correction meaningless. In this world, however, forgiveness depends on justice, since all attack can only be unjust. Now catch that. I didn't realize that back when I was younger, that all attack, I always thought that, you had to have tough love, and you got to love people. You got to draw the line and say, you can't do this or we got to punish you. Well, that's not justice we're learning. Justice is the Holy Spirit's verdict upon the world. Except in His judgment, justice is impossible, for no one in the world is capable of making only just interpretations and laying all injustices aside. If God's Son were fairly judged, there would be no need for salvation. The thought of separation would have been forever inconceivable. 2. Justice, like its opposite, is an interpretation. It is, however, the one interpretation that leads to truth. This becomes possible because while it is not true in itself, justice includes nothing that opposes truth. There is no inherent conflict between justice and truth. One is but the first small step in the direction of the other. Truth and justice. There is no inherent conflict between justice and truth. One is but the first small step in the direction of the other. The path becomes quite different as one goes along, nor could all the magnificence, the grandeur of the scene, and the enormous opening vistas that rise to meet one as he travels on be foretold from the outset. Yet even these, whose splendor reaches indescribable heights as one proceeds, fall short indeed of all that awaits one when the pathway ceases and time ends with it. But somewhere one must start. Justice is the beginning. Justice is the beginning. You are my holy Son, forever pure and innocent and holy. Isn't that how he says it? That's divine justice. Everything else was an illusion, a make-believe, a dream. It might have seemed real in this world, but that didn't make it any more real, just because it seemed real. Paragraph 3, all concepts of your brothers and yourself, all fears of future states, and all concern about the past stem from injustice. Here is the lens which, held before the body's eyes, distorts perception and brings witness of the distorted world back to the mind that made the lens and holds it very dear. Selectively and arbitrarily is every concept of the world built up in just this way. Sins are perceived and justified by this careful selectivity in which all thought of wholeness must be lost. Forgiveness has no place in such a scheme, for not one sin but seems forever true. Paragraph 4. Salvation is God's justice. It restores to your awareness the wholeness of the fragments you perceive as broken off and separate, and it is this that overcomes the fear of death. Again, salvation is God's justice. It restores to your awareness the wholeness of the fragments you perceive as broken off and separate, and it is this that overcomes the fear of death. For separate fragments must decay and die, but wholeness is immortal. It remains forever and forever like its Creator, being one with Him. God's judgment is His justice. Unto this, a judgment wholly lacking in condemnation. God's judgment is His justice. Unto this, a judgment wholly lacking in condemnation, an evaluation based entirely on love, you have projected your injustice, attributing to God the lens of warped perception through which you look. Now it belongs to Him and not to you. You are afraid of Him and do not see. You hate and fear yourself as enemy. And the last paragraph finishes this section, 5. Pray for God's justice and do not confuse His mercy with your own insanity. Pray for God's justice and do not confuse your mercy or His mercy with your insanity. Perception can make whatever picture the mind desires to see. Remember this. In this lies either heaven or hell, as you elect. Okay, that's a very important concept. Perception can make whatever picture the mind desires to see. That was yesterday's lesson. Remember this. In this lies either heaven or hell. Remember yesterday? All things I think I see reflect ideas. Well, he's reminding us. Pray for God's justice and do not confuse His mercy with your own insanity. Perception can make whatever picture the mind desires to see. Remember this. In this lies either heaven or hell, as you elect. And I might just take a pause and say right here that this is the reason I do these readings every day and saying a few words about it and try to get our mind into thinking along the principles that A Course in Miracles talks about, because we want to be free from the perception that's making us unhappy. A world where there's sin and death and evil. We want to go beyond that and see that those are a dream and that there's a reality waiting for us that we can enter in, the kingdom of heaven. And just in saying that, I'll be doing this again next year. So gather up your friends and tell them to join in at the beginning of the year. Be excited about bringing your friends, having something to talk about, and moving forward to spread this light to everyone. Pray for God's justice and do not confuse His mercy with your own insanity. Perception can make whatever picture the mind desires to see. Remember this. In this lies either heaven or hell as you elect. God's justice points to heaven just because it is entirely impartial. It has nobody that's more important than another. We're all in this together equally as sons of God, eternal. God's justice points to heaven just because it is entirely impartial. It accepts all evidence that is brought before it, omitting nothing and assessing nothing as separate and apart from all the rest. From this one standpoint does it judge, and this alone. That's why we want the Holy Spirit to make all the judgments, because we can't do that. We can't look at it entirely impartially. It accepts all evidence that is brought before it, which is everything, omitting nothing and assessing nothing as separate and apart from all the rest. From this one standpoint does it judge, and this alone. Here all attack and condemnation becomes meaningless and indefensible. Perception rests, the mind is still, and light returns again. Vision is now restored. What had been lost has now been found. The peace of God descends on all the world, and we can see, and we can see. Exclamation point. You want to have vision? Well, then let God do all the judging. And you just see the innocence in everyone. That's your job. That's divine justice. Seeing everyone as God created him and her. Okay, well, listen, we're making we're making a holy nation that we're all part of. I am forever an effect of God. Thank you for joining me on this, not just a journey, but an identity, a place to call home, the kingdom of heaven. Our true citizenship, our true country. I am forever an effect of God. Father, I was created in your mind, a holy thought that never left its home. I am forever your effect, and you forever and forever are my cause. As you created me, I have remained. Where you established me, I still abide, and all your attributes abide in me. Because it is your will to have a son so like his cause that cause and its effect are indistinguishable. Let me know that I am an effect of God, and so I have the power to create like you. And as it is in heaven, so on earth. Your plan I follow here, and at the end I know that you will gather your effects into the tranquil heaven of your love, where earth will disappear and separate thoughts unite in glory as the Son of God. Let us today behold earth disappear, at first transformed and then forgiven, fade entirely into God's holy will. I am forever an effect of God. Okay, well, again, thank you so much for joining me, and just do the best you can at having that hourly remembrance and thanksgiving throughout today. Today, telling yourself, I am forever an effect of God. Just a moment's all it takes. Just bring it to your memory every hour. And if you have time and want to, take a little longer. Take a minute or 2 or 3, whatever you want. But then be sure to take several minutes, morning and evening, to settle in with God's divine justice, where everyone's innocent and your dear brother. I am forever an effect of God. 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 What is creation is the sum of all God's thoughts. You, I, and number, infinite and everywhere. I'm messed up. Creation is the sum of all God's thoughts. That's you. In number, infinite and everywhere. Everywhere without all limit. Only love creates and only like itself. Only love creates and only like itself. Only love creates and only like itself. There was no time that all that it created, all that it created was not there, nor will there be a time when all that it created suffers any change. Forever and forever are God's thoughts, exactly as they were and as they are, unchanged through time and after time is done. Unchanged through time and after time is done. Unchanged through time and after time is done. I am forever an effect of God. 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 And as we continue on our journey, I've been trying to find different words for the word peace. I told you my trying to learn how to pronounce them. And that's a challenge. But for Chinese, the word for peace is, I think it's pronounced herping. Herping. So today, be at peace. Herping. I am forever an effect of God. Herping.